All right, so have you heard about this? Spotify wants to use AI to make like the perfect playlist for whatever mood you're in.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. They're using something called reinforcement learning.
Reinforcement learning,
Yeah, basically, it's how AI learns through trial and error.
like how we learn in real life.
Exactly, but there's a catch.
I bet there is.
How do you train an AI to recommend music, without driving all the actual users crazy with like bad suggestions while it's still learning?
Oh yeah, that would be a disaster. I can just imagine suddenly my carefully curated playlists just get flooded with like weird polka music or something.
Huh, yeah, no one wants that. So Spotify came up with this really clever solution. They built a simulator,
Wait, a simulator. Like a video game for AI DJs.
sort of. It's like a virtual world that mimics how real Spotify users listen to music. They use tons of data, like what songs people play, how long they listen, how often they skip, you name it.
So they've basically created like a digital twin of Spotify where they can let the AI run wild without messing with our actual playlists.
That's the idea. It's all about safe experimentation.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's like a giant music lab where they can test out different algorithms and see what works best.
Exactly. And to make it even more realistic, they also built something called a user model.
A user model. What's that?
It's like another AI that's trained to predict how real users would react to different songs. It's like having a virtual audience that gives feedback on the AI DJ's performance.
Okay, so I'm picturing this AI DJ stepping up to the virtual decks with this virtual audience all ready to go. How does it actually work, though? Like, how does the AI even know where to begin?
So let's say we have a simulated listening session.
Yeah.
You start with a virtual user who has certain musical preferences.
Got it. Like they like rock music or they're really into jazz.
Exactly. Then the AI DJ steps in, and based on what it knows about that virtual user, it proposes a song.
So it's not just randomly picking songs, it's actually trying to make a smart guess.
Right. It's using all that data it's been trained on to try and match the user's taste. Then the user model, our virtual audience, predicts whether that user would enjoy that song.
And that prediction is like feedback for the AI.
Exactly. It tells the AI whether it made a good choice or not, and it uses that information to get better over time.
So it's this constant back and forth. The AI picks a song, the virtual audience gives feedback, and the AI learns and adjusts.
That's reinforcement learning in a nutshell. And Spotify Simulator even accounts for things like how long people typically listen in one go and, how many skips it takes for someone to completely give up on a playlist.
So they're really trying to recreate the whole listening experience.
Yeah, it's not just about picking good songs, it's about creating a playlist that keeps people engaged.
Makes sense. But we've been talking about individual songs, and Spotify is known for its playlists.
Yeah.
So how does that work in the simulator?
Well, it's actually a bit more complex than that. The AI isn't picking specific songs. It's more like it's choosing actions that then get translated into recommendations.
Actions, like what kind of actions?
It's more about setting a vibe or a mood for the playlist. So instead of saying play this exact song, it might say play something upbeat and energetic next.
Got it. So it's like the AI is the director and it's giving instructions on the overall feel of the playlist.
Exactly. And this is where playlist creation gets really tricky because you have to think about how each song flows into the next and how someone's taste might evolve as they listen.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's definitely a lot harder than just picking one good song at a time.
And to bridge the gap between the AI's instructions and actual songs, Spotify developed something called a track sampler.
A track sampler.
Basically, it's the part of the system that takes the AI's abstract instructions, like play something upbeat, and then picks specific songs from Spotify's huge library to fit that vibe.
So the AI sets the mood, and the track sampler finds the songs.
Right. But then we get to the challenge of playlists, which are obviously longer and way more complex than just a single listening session.
Yeah, because with a playlist, you've got to keep people engaged for like an hour or more. And people's moods can change a lot in that time.
Exactly. And that's where Spotify's custom-built AI DJ comes in. It's called the Action-Head DQN, or HDQN for short.
HDQN.
Yeah.
Okay, catchier than I expected. But seriously, what is it and how does it work?
Basically, it looks at a ton of potential songs and scores each one based on how much it thinks the listener will enjoy it at that specific point in the playlist.
So it's like it's predicting how your mood will change as you listen.
You got it. And then it picks the highest scoring song, adds it to the playlist, and repeats until the playlist is done.
So it's all about creating a playlist that flows and keeps people happy, even as their taste might change.
Exactly. But the big question is, does all this simulated learning actually work in the real world? Like, do people actually like these AI-generated playlists?
That's what I was thinking. Does all this virtual DJ training actually translate into something people enjoy listening to?
Well, the good news is Spotify didn't just release this AI on unsuspecting listeners. They actually tested it both in the simulator and with real users.
So they were careful about it.
Oh, yeah. And what they found is that the results from the simulator actually lined up pretty well with how real people responded to the AI-generated playlists.
So the simulator actually works.
It seems to be a pretty good way to train an AI DJ that can make playlists people genuinely like.
This is blowing my mind. Spotify has created a whole virtual world, trained an AI DJ in it, and it actually works. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But I think we need to take a quick break and let all this sink in. When we come back, we'll talk about the bigger picture. Well, what does all this mean for the future of music and how we experience it?
Definitely lots to discuss.
All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and I don't know about you, but I'm still kind of amazed that Spotify built this whole virtual training ground for AI DJs.
It's pretty mind-blowing, isn't it? And it makes you wonder if AI can get this good at, putting together playlists, what else could it do?
Right, where else could this go? What other parts of our lives could be totally transformed by this kind of technology?
I mean, the possibilities are huge. Think about personalized news feeds. Instead of being bombarded with everything, you just get the stories you're actually interested in.
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
No more doom scrolling, just a perfectly curated feed of stuff you care about.
Exactly. Or what about fitness apps that could design a workout routine specifically for you based on your goals and how you're progressing?
Ooh, yeah, that would be cool. And it could adjust as you get stronger or if you have an injury or something.
Right. It could totally revolutionize how we work out. And what about education? Imagine AI creating a customized learning plan for each student based on their learning style and pace.
That would be amazing. It can make learning so much more engaging and effective for everyone.
Exactly. It could really level the playing field in education. But of course, with all this talk about AI taking over, it does make you wonder what happens to human creativity.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
If we're letting AI do all the thinking, are we going to lose something in the process?
That's a really important question and something we need to be mindful of as we develop these systems. It's all about finding the right balance, using AI as a tool to enhance our lives, not completely take over.
So it's AI can handle the technical stuff, the data analysis, the pattern recognition, but we still need that human touch for the creative side of things.
Exactly. We don't want to end up in a world where everything is so perfectly tailored to our current tastes that we never experience anything new or unexpected.
Yeah, we need that element of surprise, the stuff that, just blows your mind and you never would have found on your own.
Exactly. And I think that's where human creativity will always be essential. But let's bring it back to Spotify for a minute. How does all this AI stuff actually affect their business model? Are they doing this purely for the love of music, or is there something more to it?
Yeah, they are a business after all.
Yeah.
So how does all this AI stuff actually make them money?
Well, for Spotify, the ability to create these super personalized playlists means happier users, and happier users are more likely to stay subscribed.
So it's a win-win. More engaged users equals more revenue for Spotify.
Exactly. But does that mean AI is going to take over the whole music industry? Will we all be listening to nothing but AI-generated playlists in the future?
Yeah. That's kind of a scary thought.
Yeah.
Will human DJs even exist anymore?
I don't think so. I mean, music is about so much more than just algorithms and data. It's about emotions, connections, shared experiences.
Yeah. And you can't really program that into an algorithm, can you?
Exactly. Human DJs bring a level of artistry and energy that AI just can't replicate.
It's AI can create a playlist that's technically perfect, but it takes a human to connect with the audience and create a truly special moment.
Right. Think of it more as a collaboration.
Yeah.
AI can do the heavy lifting, sorting through millions of songs and finding patterns. But human DJs can focus on creating a vibe, connecting with the crowd on a deeper level.
So each brings something unique to the table.
Exactly. This whole conversation has really got me thinking about what the future of music holds. It seems like AI is going to play a huge role, but it's not going to replace the human element entirely.
Yeah, it's definitely an exciting time to be a music fan, but like with any powerful technology, we need to be thoughtful about how it's used. We need to make sure it benefits both the artists creating the music and the people listening to it.
Couldn't agree more. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from Spotify's virtual DJ training program to the future of music itself. It's been quite a journey.
I feel like I've learned a ton. What are some key takeaways for our listeners? What do we really want them to remember from all of this?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is going to have a major impact on how we experience music and probably a lot of other things in our lives. It's not just about making cool playlists, it's about creating more personalized and engaging experiences across the board.
So AI is going to change the game, but it's up to us to make sure it's a game we all want to play.
Exactly. We need to stay informed, engage in the conversation about how these technologies are being developed and used. We need to ask questions, demand transparency from companies like Spotify, and make sure AI is being used in a way that benefits everyone.
That's such an important point. And for those listeners who are really intrigued by all this AI DJ stuff and want to dive deeper, we definitely recommend checking out that research paper we mentioned earlier. It goes into all the nitty-gritty details of how Spotify's AI playlist generation system actually works.
Yes, the paper is called Automatic Music Playlist Generation via Simulation-Based Reinforcement Learning. It was written by Federico Tomasi, Joseph Cateruccio, Surya Canoria Camiltiosek, Matteo Rinaldi, and Zenwen Dai.
Quite the team. And it was presented at the KDD 2023 conference. So if you're really into the technical side of things, it's definitely worth a read. You can find it online.
Okay, so we've spent a lot of time now talking about these AI DJs, and honestly, I'm still processing it all. It's pretty wild to think about algorithms, you know, creating these playlists that are supposed to be like perfectly matched to our every mood.
I know, right? It makes you think, like, what is listening to music even going to be like in a few years? Will we even have to think about what we want to hear anymore? Or will the AI just, like, figure it all out for us? Yeah, that's the big question, right? I mean, on the one hand, it sounds kind of amazing. Like, no more endless scrolling through playlists just to find the right vibe. The AI just, like, takes care of it all.
Exactly. But it also brings up some, important questions about control and creativity and all that. Like, are we going to lose something if we just hand over all the decision-making to algorithms?
That's a really good point. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Spotify's, AI world, what are the big takeaways? What do we really want our listeners to remember about all this?
I think the most important thing is that this technology, it's not just about, making cool playlists. It really has the potential to like completely personalize how we experience music. And I think that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I mean, imagine a world where you never have to skip a song because your music player just knows exactly what you want to hear before you even do.
Exactly. And like we've been talking about, this could go way beyond music too, right? It
Yeah.
could end up personalizing everything from the news we read to the workouts we do. It's like creating a whole digital world that's tailored to each individual person.
But of course, we can't forget about the potential downsides either, right? Like we talked about the ethical side of things, making sure that AI is actually enhancing our lives and not, limiting our choices or stifling creativity.
Exactly. We don't want to just become passive consumers, completely reliant on algorithms to make all our decisions for us. It's really important that we all stay informed, ask questions and make sure that AI is being used responsibly and in a way that benefits everyone, not just the big companies.
So what can our listeners do to stay engaged in this whole AI conversation? I mean, it feels like things are changing so fast. How do we even keep up?
Honestly, I think the best thing you can do is just stay curious. Read articles, listen to podcasts like this one, talk to your friends about it. The more we understand about AI, the better equipped we'll be to make informed decisions about how it's used in our lives.
That's great advice. And for anyone who wants to really dive into the technical details of Spotify's AI DJ, we definitely recommend checking out that research paper we mentioned. It's called Automatic Music Playlist Generation via Simulation-Based Reinforcement Learning. And it was written by, let's see here, Federico Tomasi, Joseph Caruccio, Surya Canoria, Camille Chiosek, Matteo Rinaldi, and Zenwen Dai.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Okay.
But it was presented at the KDD 2023 conference. So if you're feeling brave and want to wade into the world of AI research, you can find the full paper online.
So there you have it. We've explored Spotify's journey to create the ultimate AI DJ, from its virtual training ground to the potential impact on the future of music. It's been quite a ride, and it seems like this is really just the beginning.
Yeah, who knows what incredible new music experiences await us in this age of AI. It's definitely an exciting time to be a music lover.
And one thing's for sure, even with all the algorithms and data in the world, music will always be about human connection and that amazing power of a great song to, really move us. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep those playlists spinning.
Absolutely.